Hello and welcome to Starting Small. In this episode, it's not an interview. I am introducing Starting Small Summit, an event I just recently announced where I am hosting my first live in-person summit at Bethel University in Mishawka, Indiana. So if you saw the announcement, I'm hosting an amazing speaker panel of Joe Foster, the founder of Reebok, Stacy Madison, founder of Stacy's Pita Chips and BeBOLD bars, and Dr. Jonathan B. Levine of JBL New York City and Glow Science. So in this episode, I just want to talk about why I decided to do this event, what's the inspiration behind it, why I chose the team and the panel that I did, along with what you as an attendee and a listener would get out of this summit. So flashback to summer 2021, I had the idea sitting in the back of my head for maybe the past year and a half. I waited until the podcast was scaled enough where I had a valid speaker panel and support system behind me, audience, along with I needed to figure out where I could host an event in person at this scale with the support that I needed. Of course, there's a lot of bandwidth behind this, and the university that I attend was the perfect solution and collaboration for this event. So I reached out to one of my professors in the summer of 2021. This is approaching the fall semester, and I stated that I wanted to host this event. I said, I have this podcast, and they're aware of that, and I have these speakers that I believe would be willing to speak on my behalf. All I'm asking is the venue, the help, the bandwidth to host an event at this scale. It took a couple weeks to get an email back, but they spoke internally, of course, and responded very ecstatic and excited to host this event because this is going to bring a lot of excitement to our community, my listeners, the university, of course, and it's giving these amazing guest speakers a platform to share their stories to inspire aspiring entrepreneurs like yourselves. So receiving that email back from my professor, I was very excited. This is a dream of mine that I have been thinking of for the past couple of years. I've watched other people I look up to host events such as this after building their platforms. And the speaker panel, I'm not going to cover that yet. I'm going to get into that, but I am super thankful for the panel of speakers who accepted to join this conference. That is how the entire summit started. It started from an email, an inspiration, an idea that I had moving into the fall semester of 2021. This is August, September, etc. We begin having Thursday meetings at the university. The board begins to meet. I didn't have the speakers chosen yet, but I had a rough kind of outline of who I would like to have. I pitched the idea to the entire board at the university I created a slideshow with my laptop. I showed up to the university, pitched the idea, what I would need on their end, what I could provide on my end, and what this is going to provide to our community. Of course, every single week we became more and more excited and more ideas began to pop up for the conference. As we kept meeting, the conference got bigger and bigger in our heads, and which, as you presume, got much more exciting. And breaking down the speaker panel, I wanted to look for, first, people I am very close with. Dr. Levine, I personally have worked with him for the past year. We're very close. I look up to his work extremely. Like, in the dental care industry, he has completely revolutionized dental care as we know it today. 27 patents plus. Much of the technology that you see in your dental offices was started from Dr. Levine. He's a formulator of Twice toothpaste, celebrity patients in New York City. He gives so much back to his foundation, Glow Good Foundation, and he was top priority for sure on this list. Dr. Levine, of course, agreed to join, and then we had Joe Foster, the founder of Reebok. Joe and I have been in touch for the past just over a year once this idea showed up. And of course, looking up to his work, I was a runner before. My dad was a runner. He's representing an amazing industry. That is the sports, the clothing, the apparel industry. So having that sector on this panel was key and high priority as well. So we have healthcare, we have sports and apparel, and then we have Stacy Madison, which she is very well known in her space. Stacy's Pita Chips was acquired by Pepsi in 2006. It started as a food cart selling sandwiches, and she passed out Pita Chips as an incentive to keep the customers in line just for her food cart. As demand began to rise, Stacy's Pita Chips, of course, blew up, and her career is super inspiring to an entrepreneur like myself. And having her story represent the food and beverage space was also high priority. So we have all these different sectors and industries where they have different expertise. We have Dr. Levine, healthcare, dentistry, Joe Foster, sports and apparel, and Stacy Madison representing food and beverage. Combining these three industries, we have a very powerhouse lineup of speakers providing their expertise in their specific areas. I have so many other guests that I've had on the podcast I could have chose and talked to about doing this maybe down the road, but I really wanted to have a variety of industries, variety of experience and number of years in business. Of course, they're very successful at what they have done. That was high priority. And they all three accepted. I'm really thankful to our guests for accepting to join this panel this year. And once that panel was chosen, the school began to really lock down on what our strategy is going to be marketing-wise, along with what do we want in attendance, and what is the content of the conference. So looking at the content of this conference, this is going to be a one-on-one interview process, such as the podcast, where they're all going to share their stories on the stage. One-on-one, we'll start with Dr. Levine, Stacy, Joe. We'll talk about their stories, talk about leadership aspects, how they innovated in their industries as the industries began to grow. Of course, if you're not going to innovate with your industry, you're going to get left behind. And that's what these speakers are all about, and that's why they're successful. Also, the content within the conference, we're going to be discussing delegating a team. That is super crucial. When you're scaling a team at the size that they have, it's really important to understand the different players and roles that are in the corporation to make a successful cycle of duties. So having that right management team, having the correct employees, the motivation, the management styles, all of that is going to be discussed in this conference, which you can bring back to your workplace, your employers, your employees, etc. Within that delegation, there's also going to be leadership. We all want to push leaders into our society, and providing a leadership focused summit, these experts here that we have on the panel are going to provide their leadership practices that they used at their personal businesses as well. So you're going to be getting the stories of their success stories, the exact stories that they used to build their startup from startup to amazing businesses and very successful businesses. Along with, you are going to hear different leadership, different delegation, innovation aspects that you can put into practice at your own business as well. So after the one-on-one interviews are done, there's going to be a full interview Q&A session with the audience. So we'll have the full panel on stage. You can ask your own questions to any one of the speakers, and with time available, they will be answering all of your questions. So with that conference flow, the conference is going to be very high caliber on learnings. There's going to be networking opportunities in between. Of course, there's going to be short intermissions, and then following the event, there will be intermissions as well. So again, in this episode, I really just wanted to introduce Starting Small Summit, what it's about, why I'm doing this, and of course, thank you to Bethel University and our speakers who are helping me with everything here. I hope to see you guys there, and in the description of this episode, you will see everything you need from times, location, links to everything needed for tickets, and I cannot wait to see you guys there. If you have any questions, feel free to send emails to the team. The emails are also in the description, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Next week, we're back for a normal interview, and Starting Small Summit, April 13th, 2022.